Now, it's my privilege to introduce our first student. Please welcome Miss Rylee Hillemann and her thesis, Can Adoption Be Straightforward? How heterosexual married couples are the only fit parents for adopting children.
Adoption. It's for the children, right? So how can we make sure it does not become about anything else? Clear up misconceptions. Misconceptions of adoption veer our discussion away from the children's welfare. A common one would be, all children need is a simple roof over their head and people who love them. This is a dangerous misconception that often pushes adults to forget the children's benefit and focus on pet projects of political advocates and societal manipulators. Children are put in harm's way when their adoption is made more liberally available to homosexual couples and non-traditional families. Misconceptions like these encourage false priorities, encouraging false priorities allowing adults to become more focused on themselves rather than the children's benefit. So what is needed in a home So what is required in a home that allows for children to be benefited in the best way possible? An automatic answer would be a home that is simply willing and available. While this could be seen as an appropriate answer, it is not enough. What needs to be included in that statement is the ability to produce a home that contains two parents of the opposite sex, united in marriage, producing a home with an environment that is safe, loving, and stable. Solely focused on the children's benefit. Although some say the need for adoption is so great that any willing and loving parent is needed, I argue that only heterosexual married couples are fit to be parents to an adopted child. Family structure matters, especially when it comes to adoption. A home practicing the structure of a man and a woman united in marriage is the optimal case for a child to be placed in. This structure, though, begins with marriage. Marriage is a wonderful gift from God that allows us to share the wonderful world He created with another person, to share life with, to grow old with, to bring up children in His name. Though we cannot say that marriage is the only structure necessary, as it is merely the first step to completing this structure. Naturally, the next question we ask is, what is this structure? The goal is to not find a perfect home or a perfect family, but a home equipped to raise a child without causing unnecessary complications. Though that also raises some questions, like, what does that entail? And what makes a heterosexual couple a better fit for a child than a homosexual couple? Boys, specifically, do much better when brought up in a traditionally family-structured home. In Daniel Patrick Moynihan's 1965 warning, the American politician, diplomat, and sociologist said that there is one unmistakable lesson in American history. A community that allows a large number of men to grow up in broken families, dominated by women, never acquiring any stable relationship to male authority, never acquiring any set of rational expectations about the future, that community asks for and gets chaos. Though this community affects all children, but is more prominent in boys where women are more dominant in their lives. So this does not mean that we can see two men as parents in any better of a position. The children will still be negatively affected even though these outcomes are different. The reason this home has issues is because they lack the motherly nature that women are inherently given. Because men are not women, they cannot provide the emotional and physical needs required for a growing kid. Take, for example, a child's cry. A woman is inherently keen to understand a child's cry. In May of 2013, Mark H. Bornstein, a well-known researcher at the National Institute of Health with a PhD in developmental psychology, ran a study on both man and woman's brains in response to an infant's cry. The researchers asked them to let their minds wander as they played a track of white noise interspersed with sounds of a baby crying. The scans shown in the woman's brain abruptly switching to an attentive mode, while the man's remained in a resting state. Without at least one parent that understands the natural needs of a child will inevitably cause harm. Though these natural motherly instincts are not only needed in the child's infant state, but throughout the rest of their lives. Just as a child would call upon their mother, so too are we to answer the call from God, asking us to take care of his children. This call is stated in James 1:27. It reads, "Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after the orphans and widows in their distress." This call is one of many that asks Christians to look after God's children, whether they are biologically related to you or if you have never even seen their face before. While excluding non-traditional families from adoption, there is a space that needs to be filled, and it is Christians' duty to fill that space. Though, you can easily disregard what I've said and think it's irrelevant to your lives, or it's okay, someone else will do it. A home is a home and kids need a home. But it's not just a home to them, it's a life. They're given a life, and it is in their parents' hands to shape them and give them the best possible chance. All children need the unity of a man and a woman. Because of the influence parents have on their children, it is important to regulate who we allow to be adoptive parents. Though I agree, leaving kids in the foster care system is not what we want. So how are we going to adapt and bring those kids out of the foster care system? Christians are called to do this. It is our duty as Christians and stewards of God to take care of his children. Thank you.